Action.
This is Ajahn Tim's Mindful Moments. Living in the Thai forest tradition, spent a lot of time being able just to reflect without too many problems. We didn't have to worry about earning a living. We didn't have to worry about food to eat. The requisites were provided. A lot of the time my concerns around, especially this place in Pujom Gom, had one or two arguments with a scorpion and the heat. It was stinking hot, and you sort of find your brain frying. The little caves were a nice place to hide out, but there was still not much rest. And we were encouraged very much through our practice is just to reflect on the way things are and the way the mind is often negotiating. And wouldn't it be better if, I could go and find an air-conditioned cave, which there wasn't one. And even if there was, it would come probably with the city and many other things cities have. So the wilderness is lovely, but the heat, there's always something one has to work at. So often in our world, in our lives, there are things that we just, there's no negotiating. One has to learn how to live with that. One of the things that I also found challenging was the arms round in the morning, Bindabat. And we'd go walk sometimes barefoot for quite a long distance across dirt roads, stony paths, quite painful on the feet, walking quite a long way. And the villagers would be out there, rather as the little picture here of us still at Pujom Gom, the local village, early in the morning going arms round, and the locals would be putting rice into our bowls. But this picture brought back a little memory which I wanted to share, and that is usually when we go on these Pindabat, it's called arms round, there'd be no connection with the villagers. We wouldn't speak to them, they wouldn't speak to us. It's done in almost a sort of ceremonial way. We just take the lid off the bowl, they pop something in, we close the lid and walk on. Nothing said, very silently. But there's one morning when there was an elderly lady kneeling down the pavement, as you see over here, and she's very distressed, and she was rattling on, talking very animatedly. And at that time, my Thai it's never been very good, but particularly challenged there because a lot of the elderly ladies they chew betel nut, so she's got a lot of betel nut in her mouth and very few teeth. And she's and just I couldn't really make any sense of it at all. But the monk just above me, who knew Thai very well, he kind of stopped. He looked at her and was a little puzzled, and he said something like, in Thai, when was this? What was this? And she continued going on, and then he looked at her. Monk held her for a moment and stared at her and just said, "Otonna, otonna," which is translated as well. You can endure, you can deal with that, you can live with that. Auton is like patient endurance. And this lady, instead of looking kind of, she just lit up. So you can see the face. Oh, she's clever. Yes, yeah, I can do that. And she smiled, and she just blossomed from this kind of very frightened, grief-filled old lady. She realized, yes, she can endure it, and she sort of lit up for a moment, And I just walked off thinking, how extraordinary. And this is what, I mean, when we talk about practice, how do you practice? So often in our worlds where practice is all about trying to fix, trying to get rid of, trying to work with, repair. And then there's sometimes you come to a point where there is nothing to be done. but to just work through it. And so, this insight, the Buddha says to us, all things are impermanent, everything is changing, and yet often in our minds we can't accept that. We get restless and agitated. And to see this lady just light up and obviously experience some relief and release when she's reminded that no matter how difficult things are, she can endure. And that realization brought to release and relief. Maybe we just need reminding. Things could be another way. They would be, but they're not. Like, this is it. Can we just practice with that? Happiness is only, peace of mind is only now.
Okay, cut.